He Shri Guru Dinabandhu Gyanada Swananda Datta Pranayaka Sindhu Vindavana Sinavatara Prasida Siddhara Pranaya Prachara Ajanulambita Bhujo Kanakavaridato Sankirtanaika Pitaro Kamlaya Taksho Vishwambro Dvijvaro Yugadama Palo Vande Jagapya Karo Kananavataro Ananda Lilamaya Vigrahaya Emam Devachta Vishandaraya Tasmai Mahaprem Rashapadaya Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Kasturiti Kamala Patale Vaksana Kostavana Sagare Varamuktikam Karatare Venu Karakam Kanam Sava Angari Chandanam Sulalitam Kanta Muktavali Brajastrio Parivitito Vijayate Gopala Churamani He Shishama Sundara Shikara Shikara Smiraha Shamani Manohara Radhikara Sika Mama Kripaniri Supriya Charana Kinkurin Kuru Tavai Vasmi Najivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Rajitam Nayamam Charanam Tikam Yatkin Kreshu Vasa Kaluka Kavani Nitya Parasha Purusha Shakandamuri Tasya Gadara Sanideva Savanujayas Tatkeli Kunjaba Vanangali Mahadini Shama Vajami Radha Raravinda Netram Smarami Radha Madhura Smitasham Vadami Radha Karuna Varajam Tato Monasti Gati Nakapi Kanaka Jalada Gatro Nilaso Bhagya Netro Medu Maravara Balo Malati Kundamalo Taruna Vesho Nilampitambaresho Smananeni Brittini Kunje Radhika Krishna Chandro Pancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitana Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dhanvat devotees. So today we started Abhideya Tattva, and this morning we did definition of what is Abhideya. So Abhideya means that thing which names, codifies, or defines your Sambandha Gyan and produces actions in accordance with that Sambandha Gyan. Those actions are kayak, vachik, and manasik, and they are laid out in a process. That process is called sadhan. The reason it is called sadhan is because it aims at a goal which is called sadhya. So the sadhya of bhakti is bhav. Of sadhan bhakti is bhav. And then in bhav bhakti one will practice and they will obtain prem. This body, because it is ill-equipped to handle the nature of prem, then one will take birth anywhere Krishna is performing his prakat lila. There he'll take birth and he'll receive a vastu body. Vastu body means a body completely composed of Swarup Shakti. So though in Bhava Vast, Swarup Shakti descends, when it descends at that time, it only reveals the Swarup of the Jiva. So the Jiva can act in that Swarup, and at the same time he can act in his Yatata Deha, means this current body, in his Sadhaka Vast. Okay? At the time when he gets a Vastu body, that same Swarup he realized in Bhava Vast becomes Vastu. Tomorrow we will discuss the Prayojan, and we'll discuss how that Vastu body is influenced by Prem. Because from the time of Bhav, Prem takes over the functions of the Chitta. And everything that happens to the Atma after that point is controlled by the influence of Prem, exactly in the same way that the three modes of nature control the Jiva when they identified with Ahamkar. Understand? Yeah?
Maybe tomorrow also you can explain. But when you get the bhav to the brain, to Vastu that the gene will take birth in the spiritual world, or can also do in the Mike Jagat, or material world, also do the activity.
It will be the Prakat Lila of Krishna in this material Jagat. Material Jagat.
Okay.
At that time, by the association of Nitya Parikars, especially those Parikars in which one's Seva Abhista their own mood is personified. They'll have association of those persons, and through that, the progression of praying, we'll discuss tomorrow, will go from sneha to man, pranay, etc., etc. So also at that time, they'll become acquainted with all the nuances of their seva, everything else in practice. Like a doctor, when they graduate, did you know very well? There's intern period. So you have to go hospital. You're a doctor, you graduated, but you have to go to hospital every day working with other, I guess, senior doctors. You have to do everything, so forth, so on. Okay? So that kind of internship will take place. It is also possible, I mentioned yesterday, this is a side note from our subject matter. You can obtain braj due to doing bhajan under the idea of wanting praying for Krishna, but arriving there, consider that to be your sampadya, means your accomplishment, and not take association of nitya siddhas. Then some of the sages from Dandakaranya, they did that. It was those sages who could not go to Ras when the Sarid Ras was called. Understand? Because their desire was to obtain praying for Krishna. You understand? They accomplished that. By the mercy of Sri Ramachandra, they accomplished, they got to Braj. But then they were feeling, I've made it to Braj. I'm happy. Hari Bol, I see Sri Krishna, everything, they were happy. So they did not understand the necessity of association with Nitya Siddha Parikas, so that praying does not become Sneha, Man, Pranay, etc. You understand?
And maybe they didn't have the seva mood too. They just wanted to read.
It may be anywhere. Where you can find this written, it's originally in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but Gurudev put it in the 4th verse of Manasiksha, and he described both for Vaikuntha, it is called Shukya Aishwarya Uttara Seva. In Braj, it is called Praying Seva Uttara. It means they have some vestige of their self-interest was still there, but it was not material, so they obtained that goal. Understand? But when they could not obtain Ras, I quoted the verse, Dasaha Tivra Tattva Dushta Shubha. That last Dushta Shubha means the contamination of having, I arrived in Braj. I am so happy. That was gone. And from the mood of Krishna's mercy, Krishna appeared in their heart. Dhyanya Prapta Chukta Shlesha Nivritta Shina Mangali. Any idea that there was some Mangal Subha. Mangal Subha means very auspicious, good thing. That left because they realized, I have still not been able to get to Ras. So by that, it says, Jahu Gunamai Deha. They gave up that subtle conception and they obtained Ras either on a later night or they went directly to Nityadam. It was possible.
You mentioned that as for Abhideya, the three things, Gayak, Vachak, and what's the third one?
Manasik. Kayak means with the body. Vachik means by words, because the words express the heart. And Manasik means the thought, but also means the whole Antakaran.
Body, mind, and words.
Body, mind, and words.
Okay, you said that Abhideya is a potency which produces actions related to your...
Sambandha Jnana. Abhideya means like, a good example, we have so many different kinds of relationships in the room. Friends, husband, wife, sister, maybe brother, so forth, so on. That Sambandha dictates your actions in relation to those persons. You understand? Because if my mother's here, my wife is here, there are two kinds of Sambandha, but completely different mode of action in relation. Understand? But if you have no Sambandha, how you have a mode of action in relation? You understand? So the Abhideya, it codifies what that Sambandha is, the course of action is now codified, that's called Abhideya. In our theology, it's put in context. So in context, it is called the process. You understand? And the presiding deity is Govinda Deva. But in our practice particularly, there are two kinds of process. One is called Vaidhi Bhakti, and one is called Rag Anuga Bhakti. So here's mentioning, I'm taking verses from different places. So from the Rag Vatmachandrika of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad, he's quoting, Vairi Bhakti Bhavet Sastram Bhaktau Chet Syat Pravartakam Raganuga Syat Chet Bhaktau Lob Eva Pravartakaha. So he's saying here that in Vairi Bhakti, it is the forward momentum is produced by adherence to Sastra. Understand? Sastra and Sastra Vidhi. Understand? Rules and regulations. Very good. In Raganuga Bhakti, the primary propulsion is produced by Lobh. Lobh means greed. You understand? Loya means greed. So this Lobh, it comes as a byproduct of hearing the Harikatha of Shri Sri Radha Krishna. Oh, careful, Didi. Yeah, because that falls in the computer. This Lobh is developed from hearing Harikatha. And especially if you hear the Harikatha of Braj, and you hear the sweetness of the moods of Brijabasis, this inspires greed in the heart. It is that Lobh which enters and creates a propulsion towards Brajadhan. Here the thing is that Lobh is the only means of obtaining Raganuga Bhakti or Brajadhan. Chaitanya Charitamrita is clearly mentioned there. What is it? Sakale Jagate Mori Vaidi Bhakti Braj Bhav Paiti Nohi Shakti. That to obtain Braj, Vaidi Bhakti has no potency to give that. Understand? It can give you what? Vaikuntha. Understand? But if you want to obtain Braj, Vaidi Bhakti will not do. Some confusion comes. So that means when you obtain Raganuga Bhakti, you don't need to follow any rule regulation.
No.
Is it true?
No.
Good. Vaidi Bhakti here means that Bhakti which follows Sastra with the intent to obtain Vaikuntha. It's an intent there, like in Sri Sampradaya. So there's an intent to obtain Vaikuntha. There is desire to obtain the Aishwaramayi form of Bhagavan. So it is also not random. Understand? And even in Raganuga Sadhan, there are rules and regulations. Right? Shravanam Kirtanandani Vairi Bhakti Sudanti too. It says here that even when one obtains the Lobh to practice Raganuga Sadhan, also they will practice Vairi Marg. What does it mean here? Very like Guru Padasraya, all these things. Also waking up in the morning, doing Sadhan Bhajan, following these things. They will do same thing. Their intent is different. And their motive is different. Like if two people are going to university, you can take the general curriculum. I forgot what that's called. Prerequisites everybody has to take, but the general curriculum, No, it's another word for it. I forgot what it's called. But you can take the general curriculum, or you can have aspiration for a specialty. Like if Didi decided, or my wife decided, she was going to be a dentist, even in undergrad, that intention was there. But she had to do prerequisites. It's another thing it's called. Can't remember what it is. It's not important. But both students are sitting in the class. They both have to take the math, English, all the prerequisites. You understand? But the intention of one student, I'm going medical school. You understand? The other one, I don't know what I'm going to be. I think it's general studies or something like that. Liberal arts. It's called liberal arts. So I'm going to college. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm a liberal arts person. But I'm going to be doctor, lawyer, whatever it might be. So like this person doing liberal arts, they're following same prerequisites, everything. But their determination is general. Somebody's planning to go to medical school, that's a very specific intent. Same thing, practicing bhakti in general will also lead to Vaikuntha. It will reveal Bhagavan, lead to Vaikuntha. But if you want to obtain Braja, you must practice Rag Marg. Okay? So then the next question comes, what is Rag? What is Rag? Anybody know this verse? Specific verse. Iste Sorasika Raga Paramaveshtata Bhavet. That time when Paramaveshtata means completely becoming absorbed in one's Ishtadev. Tanmai bhavet bhakti sa'atra ragatmaka danodita. So rag means the unquenchable thirst in the object of one's worship. And it's in that book, that pamphlet. Ishte Sorasika Raga is beginning. But I have it in this pamphlet, is also in there. So the unquenchable thirst in the object of one's worship, Ishte means one's Ishtadev. Understand? With deep attachment and greed. This is called Rag. In the eternal Dham, there are those whose hearts are imbued with this Rag. They are called Ragatmik Jan. Understand? They are called Ragatmik Jan. To follow in the footsteps with aspiration to obtain a mood like theirs, but will be your own, is called Rag Anuga. Understand? So this is the basis of Rag Anuga. Sri Rupa Goswami Pad, he only wrote 2 verses to describe Rag Anuga Bhakti. He didn't write more than 2 verses. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Jiva Goswami, so many others commented. Narottam Das Thakur wrote Prem Bhakti Chandrika. So many verses are written to expand, but 2 verses Rupa Goswami wrote. Anybody? Anyone? Krishna Smaranam? Remember this verse? Krishna Smaranam Janam Chasya Nija Prestam Samanvitam. He wrote that one, if they want to perform bhakti, should meditate on Krishna along with his dear associates whom one has a desire to serve like. Tat tat kata rata chosya. You should hear that kata primarily. That kind of kata, and if possible, one should reside in Braj. If you cannot reside in Braj physically, one should reside there by mind. Then he wrote, Seva Sadika Rupena Siddha Rupena Chatrahi Tad Baba Lutsunakara Vraja Lok Anusarita. So here he says, while you have a sadhak group, you'll still perform all the angas of bhakti as you were doing. But in your siddha roop, you'll meditate that I've accomplished, I'm so and so manjari, saka, whatever. In that form, you'll serve internally. Understand? So you'll serve in both sadhak roop and siddha roop. You'll consider one is Gaur Lila and one is Braj Lila. Understand? Like this. Sadhak form is Gaur Lila. Then he told Vraja Lokanu Sarata. So how you follow? You have to have a model, because there are 4 things in Raganuga Sadhan that are principal. One is greed, lobe. The other is sambandha. The other is anugatya, and the last one is kripa. These are the 4 foundational pillars of Raganuga Bhakti. Lobe, anugatya, sambandha, and kripa. Without those things, you cannot perform Raganuga Bhakti. So, Vraja Lok Anusarta. So how will we practice accordingly? As Rupa Goswami Pad wrote in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and how he himself and other Goswami Varga, down in our parampara, how they practice bhakti every day, in your sadhak form, you will practice like that. We may not practice to the intensity like Raghunath Das Goswami. Everybody's lining up for Kerala tomorrow. Understand? So, we're not taking 1 leaf cup of buttermilk. You understand? But, also this is one point. Does anybody understand? We look at always Raghunath Das Goswami, he had so high class tapasya. Was it tapasya? It was praying. And therefore, by his absorption, he was eating in his siddha roop. You understand? In his sadhak group, he's absorbed, so only time to take between his sadh and bhajan 1 cup of buttermilk every day. But one time he became ill, and doctors gave analysis. Why is he becoming ill? Very good habits, very regular, everything. They diagnosed he's been eating kheer, and he excessively ate the kheer, so he's having some digestive problem. So Goswami, no. We know his habit. He takes 1 leaf cup of buttermilk each day. He doesn't take anything else. No, must be. The Vaidya told, doctor means doctor, he was eating kheer. So then Raghunath was saying, yes. In the Nitya Leela, they were making so beautiful kheer, and I took 1 cup, then I took another cup, then another cup, and this way he got indigestion. You understand? So this is the real mood. So Seva Sarika Rupina Siddharupena Chatri, Tadbhavatsanakara, Raja Lokanusarta. So when we will obtain Siddhi, we will also be able to do the same. But our primary focus now is Raja Lokanusarta, how they practice bhajan in their sadhak form, as Rup Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, etc. But our aspiration is to follow them as Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, etc. Understand? So these two verses only Rupa Goswami Prabhupada wrote. Others went on to write many more verses describing what is Raganuga Sadhana. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, I wanted to quote one section in which he describes how the sadhak approaches Raganuga Bhakti. So he told, Shravanam Kirtanandini Sadhana Samaye Yada Shuddha Bhakti Udeti Tada Swashya. So he says, just as the sadhak jiva goes on hearing and chanting, pure bhakti opens up and appears in his heart. In other words, the power to make the appearance of bhakti is coming from bhakti itself. Bhaktya sanjatya bhakta. Bhakti gives bhakti. So if he's practicing that point, but with what? Anugatya and what we spoke the first day. Sambandha. If he's practicing with that. Vijyatam parhitta vijjaya chidetara. It says then, Vitrishna Jnanani. Then the functions of the essence of Ladini and Samvit, known as Bhakti Devi or Swarup Shakti, then removes all other desires and aspirations. So he loses the thirst for things related to the material world. Organically, as the growth or the prabhav or influence of Swarup Shakti grows in the chitta. You understand? So it's an organic process, just like if you have a light that's on a dimmer switch, and the room is dark, and you begin raising it slow by slow, the room gradually becomes illuminated. And then when it reaches its height, it's fully illuminated. So in the same way, in the chitta of the Bhada Jiva, gradually Swarup Shakti's prabhav or influence begins to grow, just like a light on a dimmer switch, until it's fully illuminated. The service, after all ignorance is dispelled, when Swarup Shakti, so it's saying here, who's removing the ignorance? Bhakti, Swarup Shakti. So after the ignorance is dispelled, Swarup Shakti, the jiva's gross and subtle coverings are both destroyed by the Vijjavritti or Samvit Shakti. So everything related to the transference to our spiritual identity is all done by Bhakti and Bhakti Shakti. But what happens is that if we maintain an idea of false egoism, we will remain in the concept, I am the doer, I will remove the anarthas. So sometimes you hear devotees say, I have to work on myself. Yeah, I have to purify first, then I will get bhakti. Right? Then he says, at once, when that happens, the jiva's pure constitutional transcendental form appears for those who are eligible. This is a important point. I'm going to read the Sanskrit for that. Adhikara bhadena madhuja rasa ashwadin yatnam gopika deham api prakyati tatyati. So he says here, as that happens, then the pure constitutional transcendental body appears. Those who are eligible to taste madhuja ras attain purely spiritual body of a gopi. So this comes from the Harinam Chintamani Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So this is another very important way to understand. In pursuit of practicing Raganuga Bhakti, he then gives description how it should be done. Sarakya Jakon Rag Mag Raganuga Mag Lob Hoy. When that greed arises, it means you've been hearing Harikatha and hearing the sweet pastimes, like Gurudev always says, of Krishna, his Bal Lila, his Puganda Lila, then his Kaishwar. Hearing these things over and over again, greed comes, how can I serve like that? You understand? When that happens, Sarakajakon Raganuga Mag Lob Hoy, when that lobe develops, Sat Guru Nikata Pratana Koriletina Sarake. The Saraka should approach Guru. And coming very near the Guru, Ruchi Pariksha Koriya. The Guru will examine that Ruchi. The Guru will find, what kind of Ruchi you like. You understand? Or it will become evident. Like I mentioned, Guru could look. Who was I speaking to? Was I speaking to you today? That Guru can look and talk to you in a darshan anything, Or he'll be asked, oh, you, get up and speak. And then hearing you speak continuously, he can assess, his mood is like this. You understand? Guru can know by his omniscience. But in process, they will do pariksha, examine. You've come to me in this line, your bhakti samskars, now you're speaking, and always you're speaking, this. Yes, he likes this thing here. Then Guru Dev will give. Sange Sira Dehe Parichaya Koriya Devan. Guru will give instruction how to develop your Siddhadeha. And like Didi was telling yesterday, it's true. Guru Dev not giving the Siddhadeha. He give instruction how to nourish it. You understand? Where did the Siddhadeha come from? Swarup Shakti. Okay. Any questions so far? This thing up to this point?
This is very good because we always hear when people go to Radha Kund to be misled, I will give you your Swarup, all these things.
Yes.
And so this is very good clarification.
But we have to go back historically. So historically what used to happen, any person who was very qualified, they developed a greed by bhajan sadhan.
Yeah.
Then they approached anybody in the line of Mahaprabhu. And like Sannyasi Thakur, they were qualified.
Right.
So at that time, they would give, I'm giving you your Ekadas Bhav. And their Atma at that time being qualified could immediately make taratmik with that reality. Yeah. Like in Jaivadama Sannyasi Thakur, you are Raman Manjari. But what happened, that process became kind of standardized. Like rubber stamp, kind of standardized. So now what happened, when you come to that line, anytime coming, you need to receive Siddha Pranali. Yeah. So I was just recently working post office, eating Frankfurter, but I got inspiration for Bhakti. But I came here because I understand Radhakund, high class of Babajis are there. And 2 weeks, I'm there, doing Southern Bhajan 2 weeks. Now take Diksha, you get Siddha Pranali. You understand? So that part is not good. Now, there are some cases where that's the system they practice. And when Western devotees started to go there, you understand? Then they, I want so much love for Raganuga Bhakti. Only I'm requesting that on Ekadasi you must have my favorite chips. But other than that, I can be here and do Southern Bhajan, everything, no problem. So they're very nice and very humble, everything, staying in Radhakund sometime. Then they're processing that line. This is what happens. You take Siddha Pranali. Siddha Pranali means a channel. So it means their parampara. So they acquaint you with all of the manjaris in that parampara and the gurus who are in that parampara. Through that channel, they give you now, by their meditation, the swarup of one manjari. Technically, this is called Bhutta Suddhi. Bhutta Suddhi means it is a way to break your abhiman of thinking you're the body. So their intention was not that you'd be a manjari on the first day. The intention was it would give you something to meditate on. Do we also have a Bhutta Suddhi in our practice? What is it? No. We have Bhutta Suddhi. Yes, Nacharapati. Yes. This is our Bhutta Suddhi. So before taking Anik, we will also chant this to purify ourselves. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this. What am I? Gopi Bhatupada Kamalayor Dasha Dasanudas. You understand? So we also do. But they give the Ekadas Bhav as Bhutta Suddhi. And hopefully that person doing Southern Bhajan will grow into, like almost getting close too big. Then you grow up and you'll grow into it. You understand? So it's not a harm in their process. The harm is in the insincere person who approaches and prematurely tries to get it. Understand? So it's not the process fault. The second class of persons were bogus. They themselves had no realization anything, but because in the Nirupadi Vaishnav community, it's called the Babaji community, there is no distinguishing between who's what. Like any sannyasi in our line, they have standards and they're recognized. If you're wearing saffron, carrying a danda, automatically standards are there. If you associate with any lady, privately anything, question will come immediately. But Babaji Sampradaya, there's no distinguishing quality like that. So, ladies are living there, this living there. Everything is not an issue. So bogus persons then started to take advantage of widows or other innocent persons coming. Listen, I am coming directly in the line of Mahaprabhu, any parivar. if you want your siddhi in bhakti, I will give it to you. That's where that started. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur pushed back against that by saying, no, the siddha comes from bhakti. It doesn't come from any person like that. That's where that statement comes. So when you read Al Srila Prabhupada, what verse is this? Shravanadi Surachitte Koryo Yudoy. What's the beginning of that verse? He's saying that Shravanadi Surachitte Koryo Yudoy. If you will practice bhakti, then naturally it will arise in the heart. When Srila Prabhupada gave his translation of verse, he's saying, therefore this bhakti is present and it doesn't come from outside. He wrote in the commentary, because they are pushing back against the idea that this person will come, I will give you your siddhi. That didn't start with Al Srila Prabhupada. It started with Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he pushed back against that whole bogus thing. Most other Babajis, Gopashanas Babaji, Bhagavatas Babaji, Madhusudan Babaji, Uddhavdas, they're simply doing bhajan. So if somebody's being bogus, they simply don't associate. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he called it out. And he transferred that to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also was very firm. Even the guru of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Vipin Bihari, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur didn't like some things he said. He was very, very heavy. There's no place that Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself spoke negatively about Bipin Bihari Goswami.
Did you want the beginning of that verse?
Yeah.
In Nitya Siddha
Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabono hai.
Yes.
Shravanadi Surichite Koredo. If you read Srila Prabhupada, do you have the verse translated?
Yes.
From Veda, read the verse.
Pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the hearts of the living entities. It is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, this love naturally awakens.
Yes. That verse, historically, when you look at the context, was born from the pushback of Bhaktivinoda Thakur against these bogus Babajis. You understand? So Prabhupada is doing a Bhav Anuvad, because nothing in the verse in Bengali says like that. But he's preaching because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also wrote the same thing. You understand? And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was the genesis of that, to push back against bogus Babajis and that whole idea. Understand?
That's why in our society,
We're saying,
sadhana has been given so much importance.
yes, yes. And because it's true, because bhakti comes from bhakti. No person can give you bhakti, or they can't give you a sarup, right? That sarup comes from bhakti. And Gurudev recognizes what it is, and he gives the bhajan shiksha how to nourish it and bring it out fully. Also, in Raganuga Marg, there were two paths. One path is called the Antara Pant, means the internal path. That internal path of Raganuga Sadhan came from Vikeshwara Pandit. He gave it to Gopal Guru Goswami. Gopal Guru Goswami gave it to his disciple Dhyanachandra Goswami. Between Gopal Guru Goswami and Dhyanachandra Goswami, they wrote a manual how to practice Raganuga Bhakti. That manual was called Gaur Govind Archan Smaran Parati. By adding the word Archan, they indicated this is a manual, and Parati indicated a manual for practice. You understand? Just like we have the Archana Parati. The book we have, how to do deity worship and everything, called Archana Parati. Understand? So Gaur Govind Archan Smaran Parati. Smaran means Raganuga Bhakti. So how to do the Archan worship through Smaran, Raganuga Bhakti, a Parati or manual was written for that by Dhyanachandra Goswami, and Gopal Guru Goswami gave the information. That was called the Bahir Pant. Bahir Pant means the external path. I'm sorry, mistaken. It's the Bahir Pant. It's the external path. Because they're describing externally, do like this, chant the name of this manjari so many times, then do this, then do that. So it's an external presentation.
The first one was Bhakteshwar Pandit.
Vikeshwara Pandit. He was associate of Mahaprabhu. His disciple was Gopal Guru Goswami. His disciple was Dhyanachandra. He wrote the Parati. Then many others wrote subsequent things like Manjari Sarup Nirupana of Kunja Bihari and so forth. So they began to write other books related to that. Then there's the Antarapant, the internal process. That was given by Mahaprabhu to Swarup Damodar. Swarup Damodar gave it to Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami, in his 12 verses of Manasiksha, described the Antarapant. What's the difference? One tells you externally what to do. Raghunath Das Goswami told what you should internally do. In other words, what your mind should be changed to do. You understand? One told, whatever your mind is, say this mantra this many times. Do this thing at this time of day. Recite these mantras for this manjari, for that sati, recite this one. So it's an external presentation. Raghunath Das Goswami, Guru Goste Goshtale, Shu Sujane, Bur Sugane, adjust your mind. So Guru Goste Goswami, Shu, have deep regard for Vrindavan and Brijabasis. Also have respect, Sujana, for all of the other Vaishnava Sampradayas and for Brahmins as well. So mantra Sri Namni, Raja Dondva Yuva Sarane, also develop deep love for the divine couple, Shri Radha and Krishna, and Vrindavan. Also, so mantra Sri Namni, develop deep attachment for Harinam and for your mantras. Sada Dandva Hitva, you give up pride, which means false ego. Give up your pride. Sada Dandva Hitva, Kururatim Apurvata. Apurvata means unprecedented, like you never did before, because you've never been at this level before. Give up everything that you thought about previously and develop an unprecedented rati for these things I've described. So he's telling, make an internal adjustment. You understand? Then he says, whether there's dharma or dharma, what's mentioned there, don't so much get into following that. Simply develop love for Radha and Krishna. So don't get into Vaidhi Bhakti. This is the second verse of Manasiksha. Then he will tell, even...
Is there any Archan Padhati for here, like where there was God Govind Archan, Smart Padhati for external? Is there any...
Manasiksha is the book of Raghunath Das Goswami to deal with that.
And what was the book by Jan?
Gaur Govind Archan Smaran Padhati. Most of it.
Is it the same? Guru
Goswami who's in Jayavadama.
Who was instructing
Mahaprabhu. That young boy who was Gopal, who gave instruction, he became Gopal Guru Goswami. So, then Manasiksha, he's telling, Na damam, na adamam, shrutigana niruttam kila kuru. Whatever is written in all Sastra, don't become so absorbed in that. What it says this Sastra, what it says that Sastra. He says, Rajan Radha Krishna Prachor. Prachor means profuse. Paricharya means worship. Ihatanu, do this. So to follow the path of Rav, mostly worry about deep seva to Radha and Krishna. Sachi Sunum, then he gives Sambandha. Sachi Nuna Nanisara Pati. Understand that Sachi Sutta Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not different from the son of Nanda Maharaj. And Sutatve Varam, right? Then Mukunda Praistave, Smara Param Arjasam Nanu Manaha. And you should consider that Sri Guru is very dear to Mukunda. Understand?
You said this morning in class.
Yes, important.
At the house.
At the house.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll read the third verse and I'll explain them as we go along.
Okay.
Because if you look at it, it's all internal adjustment to be able to practice. I'll do so because I have it here. Asad Vrata Visraja Makta Savasha Harini. Don't get involved in mundane talks. Because if you get involved in mundane talks, Visraja Makta Savasha. Mati means your discrimination. Your ability to stay focused will be lost. Mata Savasha Harini. It will be stolen away. So Asad Vrata Visraja. Give up the idea of mundane talks in the world. Kata Mukti Vyagraha. You should consider anything you hear about liberation, Mukti, Brahma Jyoti, Nirvisesh Brahman. You should think it like a tiger. Savatmana Kila Srin Nasrinu. Don't hear it even. Because it's mentioned, Mayavadi Bhasha, Sunali Hoy Sarvanash. If you hear Mayavad philosophy, it will destroy everything. Understand? Then he says, Nashanukila Savatma Gilani, because it destroys the potential of the soul to have a personal relationship. It doesn't mean literally, but it means when you become absorbed in Brahmavad, Mayavad, any of these things, it takes the soul and gives it the idea of no identity, no sambandha, no anything. Understand? Then this is really important. Api, Tattva Lakshmi Pativatim, Ito Vyoma Nayanim. Don't even do the sadhana of worship of Lakshmi Narayan. You understand? Don't api, even. Don't do the sadhana of the worship of Lakshmi Narayan.
Because we don't want that sadhana.
We don't want Aishwarya Mai. This is the internal way to practice Raganuga Bhakti. But rather, Raje Radha Krishna, Sarapti Mani Do. Remember in Sanskrit this au is dual case. So spend all your time in the absorption. Raje Radha Krishna, Swarati. Their Rati, Mani Do, the jewel of their Rati. So you have to understand what this praying. The jewel of their Rati, Tvam Bhajamanaha. Do your bhajan only absorbed in that. Understand?
That's number 4.
That's 4. This is 5. You got 5?
This is 4.
What do you read about 4?
What I read was 4. I'm saying, you have 5?
Okay. Now we're going to 5.
So now he's telling that what will happen when you begin to practice Raganuga Bhakti, what kind of things you may encounter. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad took the same thing and laid it out in Madhurya Kandambini. Read it out loud, Prabhu. Prakamam Kamadi.
Kamadi Prakasta Pata Pati Yatikarai.
Alright, 1 second. Asas Cheshta Kashta. It means he's telling to the mind that all kinds of wicked endeavors, Asas Cheshta, Kasta Prada, Vikata Prashalibya, they will be like a dacoit who has a rope and is waiting for you to bind you by the neck. You understand? When you take to the process, you will encounter this difficulty, right? According to your bhakti samskaras. So he's saying, Gale, start from Gale.
Gale, Badva, Hanye, Mam, Iti, Bhakavit.
So Bhakavit is going to be a separate thing. So Gale, Badva, Hanye, Hum. So you should dread that I'll be bound by the neck. If I allow the material impressions coming from false ego to again enter my consciousness and cause me to do all kinds of wicked, sinful things, it will be such a problem on this path. It'll be like being bound by the neck by dacoits. Then he says, Bakabit means
Krishna,
Bakasur. Why Bakasur he chose here? What does Bakasur represent? Duplicity. So he says that person who killed the duplicitous demon in the form of Bakasur, you need to call on that person. Go ahead.
Bakabit, Vatmapa, Gane. And it says, Kuru Twam, Putkaram, Avati, Sa, Yata, Twam, Manaita.
Oh, mine. Kuru Twam, Putkaram means to loudly call, to intensely call. On the Vatmapa Gane means those who are on the path of service to Krishna. The devotees. So, those on the path of service to Krishna. That gun, call on them. You understand? Yeah. To help you when you come to that circumstance. Right. So he's acknowledging that on the path of Rag also is not easy. You understand? Not also easy. Then?
Last verse or number 6?
6.
Hare Chaita Projat Kapita Kutinati Barakara. Keep going?
Yeah, I'll read it here. So, he's saying here that in spite of having been successful in conquering over like lust, greed, anger, other sort of things, still there's a couple of enemies that are very subtle. One will be duplicity. You understand? To make a presentation, I'm very advanced devotee, so forth, so on. But internally, to be struggling with many, many things. So he's saying essentially, he's telling the mind, give up this enemy who's kutanati, like duplicitous, like cheating mentality. Then he's going to say, even worse than being duplicitous is the desire for name and fame. This is verse 7. Pratishtasta drasta. So Pacharamani really menatet. So he describes Pratishta Asha. He's not saying Pratishta, because Pratishta will come to a great devotee. He's saying the desire to have it. Yes, you understand? No. Asha is free from all these things. Her Asha is for Radha Darshan. Her Asha is for Radha Darshan. But those who have Pratishta Asha, desire for name and fame and so forth, Swapach means like a who eats dog. Very degraded. Ramani means, in this case, context like a prostitute. So a dog eating prostitute may really, in my heart, not that is dancing. So why is he saying like this? If any perceptive person will see something so audacious is happening, the word drust means audacious, boldly dancing in the heart. It means Pratishta is such a subtle, dangerous thing, you can't recognize it when it's happening.
Right.
You understand? So pride will fill your heart and you can't even recognize it yourself. So he's saying you have to be so careful because it's so subtle. Because he says the symptom will be Katam Sadhu Prema. Okay?
Katam Sadhu Prema.
Prasakti Suchir.
Prasakti Suchir. Nanumana.
It means how can pure prema enter the heart when Pratishta Ashta in the form of this audacious dog-eating prostitute is dancing there? How will it happen? And where will Pratishta Asha come from?
Pride.
Where will pride come from? False egoism. What's the reservoir of false egoism? Ahamkar. You understand?
The Pratishta can go even after the death of this material body, like we lose the material body. Once we die, and we have not become pure.
It goes in the subtle body to the next body.
It comes in the
Next body. Yes. Because the antakara means the mind, intelligence, and false ego. It's like the bank account for your material karma. And it transfers from one life to another. Here's your bank balance. So in one life you have so many desires and you have so much facility in your karmic bank account. You go into your karmic bank account, I want to be famous, beautiful, everything everybody wants to do. Beautiful, famous, rich, this, that. You look in your account, well, I can't be all of them. I'll take a little bit of beauty. Give me this much, right? And then you're spending that currency and your actions are creating more sin or sukriti. You understand? Not bhakti sukriti, just regular mundane piety. And your account is adjusting like that according to deposit. You're making sins, it's withdrawals. You understand? You're making sukriti, you're making deposit. Understand? If a person is practicing bhakti same time, bhakti unmukhi sukriti is also forming. They remain undisturbed because material energy cannot conquer over them. This is the meaning in Bhagavad Gita, Nihabra Kamana Shosti Pratyavayona Vijate. Swa Alpamapyasha Damasha Prayate Mato Bayat. Don't have any fear that you will lose your bhakti samskars. You understand? But praying cannot come in the heart if this mood of ahamkara, false egoism, is present.
Even Vaishnava Aparad?
Aparad is different thing.
The bank account word.
Your bhakti bank account, you're exactly right. Then you'll find that the government stole it, took everything.
Aparad is this.
Aparad, you lose everything.
Specifically Vaishnava Aparad.
Vaishnava Aparad, utte hati mata. If you take a mad elephant and you're just growing a tender garden and that elephant breaks through and gets in the garden, what happens? Everything gone. So, Sada Tvam, Sevaswa, go ahead. Samanta Samanta means like an army, an incomparable army. So, when you see this thing happening, then especially because it's very difficult to get rid of Pratishta, you have to call on the infallible army. Go ahead, read. They can eradicate this Pratishta. It means only the generals in the army of Mahaprabhu, they can remove this Pratishta. Pratishta is very difficult to remove. You understand? Pratishta is very difficult to remove. So Raghunath Das Goswami says, if you want to practice this Raganuga Sadhan, you must be on the Anugatya of any Guru. The Guru can remove that Pratishta. Understand? Not possible to yourself. Therefore, the Denukasura, who also represents pride and ignorance, who had to kill him? Baladevji, Akanda Guru Tattva. Okay? Right? Verse 8.
Mukunda, it mentions that Pratishta is like the eyelid, the closest thing to the eye, but the eye
I can't see it. Very good example. Fails to recognize itself. Even while practicing devotion. This is how Guru Abhiman creeps in. You understand? Guru Abhiman creeps in because a person thinks, oh, I have so many disciples, this, that, and this. And it's so subtle. You cannot recognize it. This is why Jiva Goswami... How many disciples did Rupa Goswami have?
One.
How many disciples Loknath Goswami had?
One.
So now, we may say our Guru Dev, our Srila Prabhupada had thousands of disciples. How? This verse, Samantam Atulam. Samantam Atulam means, Atul means incomparable. According to the mission, there were generals in the army of Mahaprabhu. So they had the power of Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu to back them to save the entire world and fulfill the prophecy of Mahaprabhu. You understand? But most of the time, one should not take too many disciples. Take so many disciples. If you cannot remember your disciples' names, it's a problem. Understand? It's a problem.
So it's not so much Siddhanta Prabhupada, because he also has disciples, a lot of them, from
Yes.
where he started.
Yes. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also not having many disciples. Understand? So that
Also preaching.
also Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, our Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Gurudev, those four in particular, they were the fulfillment of the prophecy of Mahaprabhu. Prithviya Chayata Nagaradigram Savachapacha Hoibe Monam. Many devotees think that it meant that everywhere in the world you'll see a Harinam party. That's not the meaning. When it said that everywhere the Nam would be spread, it meant the entire conception. You understand? So the entire conception was manifest. Our Srila Prabhupada, if you look in his books, everything Guru Dev talked about is in Prabhupada's books. So Srila Prabhupada came and he was breaking, or Guru Dev said, cutting the weeds. You understand? Because what he wrote in his books couldn't be understood unless the weeds of misconception were cut. So he cut all the misconceptions. Same time, he put everything up to the highest kind of Raganuga Bhakti in his books. If you read the 4th chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, I was in Los Angeles when they did the marathon to produce Chaitanya Charitamrita. They were working non-stop. Prabhupada wanted it that bad. Srila Prabhupada wanted them out that bad. And if you read the 4th canto, highest conceptions of prema there. You read Ramananda Samvad, highest class of prema, up to Prem Vilas Vivar is present there. Srila Prabhupada gave everything. We were not ready to understand it. Therefore, second and yes. And also, right, in Radha Damodar temple, Gurudev was cooking for him. What do you think they were talking about? Who won Super Bowl? What kind of katha was going on there? Understand? Being here is nothing. If you had chance to be, just sit by the door, don't speak. You sit by the door, hear what Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada are speaking about. Then Srila Prabhupada told, with your own hands, you put me in samadhi. Gurudev knew his all moods, everything. This was a chain, you understand, of the fulfillment of Mahaprabhu's prophecy. Therefore, by necessity, they had to take thousands and thousands of disciples. Gurudev had thousands of disciples, but Gurudev made everybody feel, personally, you're my Guru. How is that possible? That shows the potency. You understand? That was the potency of Nityananda Mahaprabhu. Every single person felt like, oh, Gurudev's special to me. Everybody felt like that. Understand? He told my wife one time, listen, I will make you into a lotus flower, offer you to the feet of Krishna. Understand? For that time on, her mind is completely gone. Understand?
Number 8. Itavistatvam me davayati sastayapi kripaya. Itamayam Mayam. Mamitam Abhi Dakyat Udvam.
The Datya.
So the Y is with the U or no?
The Datya, because of long A.
Udvam.
Ujwalam Aso.
Tatashri Gandharva Bhajana Vidyaye Prera Yatima Kagoste Katva Giri Dharam Iha Swam Bhajamana.
Listen. By association of advanced devotees, Ladini Shakti, which dispels corruption and brings about the highest perfection, is transmitted.
Yes.
Is transmitted into the sadhaka's heart.
Yes.
But that type of association is not easily obtained.
Right.
Therefore, bhakti surdurlabh. Oh, you have it on bhakti base? Yeah, you can read it on bhakti base. So we can take turns reading it, right? So it says not easily obtained. Therefore, O mind, with utter humility and grief-stricken words, just worship Sri Giridhari Krishna in Braj in such a way that he will become pleased with me. So all of our southern practice is to invoke the Kripa of Sri Radha and Krishna. By his causeless mercy, he will remove my wickedness and bestow the nectar of his supremely radiant love and confer upon me the inspiration to do what? So Raganuga Bhakti in a nutshell in this one verse.
Yeah.
Everything in this one verse.
Yeah.
So read again.
Can you read the verse again?
Yeah, read the translation again.
Okay. By the association of sadhus, Ladini Shakti is transmitted into the sadhaka's heart, which dispels all corruption and brings about the highest perfection.
So what will remove anarthas? Swarup Shakti. Understand? So what is Guru doing in his Harikatha? Is emanating. Yeah. This was Satam's Prasanga. Mama Virya Samvad. In the Samvad of the pure devotee, Mama Virya, his own Swarup Shakti is present there. Radha Krishna's Swarup Shakti is present. And in that Samvad, it goes into the heart. That's what's dispelling anarthas. Go ahead, keep reading.
Well, this is very good because we're thinking that if I do, I have to do it.
Yes.
I have to just try to do Harinam under their guidance and pray for their mercy. If I think I'm doing it, nothing happens.
No, because it mentioned Bhagavad Gita.
Like you said, I was ringing the bell, but now I gave it up and now.
Yes, because I was doing it.
I was doing it.
Know somebody again.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it also.
But endeavor?
Yeah,
endeavor is one thing. But you should realize how it's happening.
Right.
See, in other words, if we're doing it, but we don't realize how it's happening, we attribute we're doing it. Why? Bhagavad Gita tells, Prakriti kriyamanani gunai kamani savasha ahamkara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. Manyate means I'm thinking, I'm doing it. And he's directly telling you, no, you're not doing anything. If you have a hamkara, the modes of nature are doing it. So what happens if you take that conception in the bhakti? Then again, this is why I ask who's doing?
Right.
If you have your hamkara, modes of nature doing, that provides 81 different varieties of material bhakti. You understand how it's working? Because you're thinking, I'm doing, and Krishna's directly telling you, if you think you're the doer, then you're being bewildered. Because everything related to the ahamkara is coming from the modes of nature. So what you've done is brought the modes of nature, and you're practicing bhakti under 3 types of modes of nature, but when they combine, it would be 3 times 3 is 9. There are 9 practices of bhakti. 9 times 9 is 81. So your bhakti is infused with 81 different varieties of the modes of nature. Now, but you cannot use your material senses.
So we have to have the desire to want to please and serve the Lord.
And we have to realize.
But that's the action. Is the desire to want to do it.
Is kripa. Yes.
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 Yeah, but this is the key right here, Mukunda. By the association of sadhus, Ladini Shakti is transmitted into the sadhaka's heart,
Yes.
which dispels all corruption.
So that anarthas and all corruption, when you're in the association of sadhus and the harikathas going on, or the association of guru and he's giving namrit, that's what's dispelling all the corruption. So then who am I? Das. Because when Gurudev gave you a name, he gave you a name, Das. Any name, Das or Dasi. So that's the first Sambandha again. I told you the other day, that's called Samanya Sambandha again. So if you don't at least come to that point, your bhakti will be infused with material energy. Hold on, Asha, did he have
on the walk? Gurudev said, "What is your name?" And before I could get to what I said, before I could get that, he said, "No, God."
Yes.
I was going to say that.
So I was just asking the three mode of nature.
Yes.
Bhakti it starts in mode of goodness. That is the influence. Like it, there are three modes: mode of goodness, mode of ignorance, and mode of passion. But mode of goodness is good to start the bhakti. Is it true or not?
No, what happens is bhakti is transcendent. It is through the sattva. When the aspirant is coming out of the modes, he's transitioning through the mode of goodness.
Okay.
It's not that bhakti is like the mode. Bhakti is through the sattva.
Yeah.
But the practitioner was imbued with the modes.
Mode of goodness to
When he picks up the practice, then he's predominating into the mode of goodness to begin his practice.
begin the practice.
Is in the mode of goodness. But that's not the bhakti in the mode of goodness.
No.
That's the practitioner is coming in the mode of goodness.
Sadhana.
His sadhana making him come in the mode of goodness. Hi, Bosi.
I may have missed this, but in the case of endeavoring and kripa, the fact that you're endeavoring means that you're having a desire for bhakti. Is that what, well, I'm not going to say influencing, but is that why Srila Gurudev gives us his kripa? Because
yes.
he sees a desire in us?
Yes.
Okay.
Didi told the other day, this is called Krishna Seva Vasan. That's the desire in your heart. The bij actually is called mati. Because in the verse it says, Brahmana Brahmati Konya Bhagwan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Poi, Bhakti Lata Bij. So the bij is called mati. Mati means the point when you get the discrimination to ask, who am I? What is this? This cannot be the all in all. That's called mati, that's the bij. From that bij, that consideration, like Sanatan Goswami asked Mahaprabhu, Keami, Kenamai, Jaritapatrai. That's called mati, that question. Then Mahaprabhu answered, what is it? Jiverasmupoya Krishna Nityadas. Jiveratasta Shakti Beda Bebakash. So then when he gave him the answer, from that point he's looking, I'm Krishna Das. I want to serve Krishna. That's called the Bhakti Lata. And that is called Krishna Seva Vasana.
Yeah, then it says, therefore, O man, with utter humility and grief-stricken words, just worship Sri Giridhari Krishna and Vraja in such a way that he will become pleased with me.
Why is he saying that you should offer with grief-stricken words? What is your grief?
Please help me, please help me.
It's humility, but it's also the realization of where I was and where I'm trying to grow.
Right.
You understand? That realization provides, what chance do I have? Just think, what was our life before, and now you're asking, I want to be Palidasi of Radhika.
Right.
Just, you can't fathom. I was here, and I'm asking, I want to be Palidasi of Radhika. You understand? Especially in view of how Srila Prabhupada took the whole world. I remember I was giving the Harikatha someplace, I think in your house, Prabhu, and Didi was singing, Radha Nama Parama. So that time I was becoming overwhelmed because I thought, myself, Sahadev, we grew up playing basketball in a park, making jokes, acting like teenagers. Here we're now talking Radha Dasya. How is it possible? You understand? So this is meaning in your heart, then you have so much repentance. Grief-stricken, how possible? You understand? Who was this person? What kind of samskars we had coming in the Western world? No samskars like samskars in India or anything? Nothing like that we had.
Sukriti was so mature.
It must from maybe previous life. I told today to Srikant Prabhu, in my family, my uncle was a disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda. So in any African American family in Cleveland, Ohio, why some yogis in my family? You understand? It's just so the things let you know this was from previous life. You understand? And then also, even when I was growing up, in the beginning we were kids. So my brother, by force, my uncle said, you have to do meditation every day, this and that. So no harm with kids, it's fun. Okay? But when I become a teenager, sports, girls, these things are more important. But my brother said, no, we have to go, meditation time. And I'm like, listen, I have a basketball game in 1 hour. So then we have to make it quick. He says, no, don't worry about any basketball game, anything. So by force, these things were going on. So now I'm seeing that's also Krishna's hand at that time. Understand? And it was that uncle who told me, listen, I want to know how it is that Krishna left this world. So we called the temple, the Brooklyn Temple, and I tried to look up the word. It's called Mosala Lila. But when I picked up the phone, I didn't know how to say it. So I said, we want to know about Krishna's mostly Lila. And the devotee on the phone said, what, most of his Leelas? I said, yeah, mostly Lila. When he died, right? And the devotee told me, listen, we don't talk about these things on the phone. Very good Sankirtan devotee. If you come here, I can give you a book, tell you everything. So then my uncle, there was no Uber at that time. So we had gypsy cabs. So in the back of the day, it was almost like Uber. You called them, they send a radio to that cab, he picks you up, and then he'll take you somewhere, wait for you, and then bring you back. So my uncle gave me $50 and paid for the cab. I went to the temple, got all the books. That was the first time I saw Radha Govinda. Right? So I went in, I saw the temple, everything. He gave me prasad. So every Sunday we have a feast here. You should come, etc., etc. So I took all the books back. From that day, I started going to the temple regularly. And my uncle also then converted from Paramahansa Yogananda and Self-Realization Fellowship to following Bhakti. Along my brother. Okay, let's go.
Okay, so by his causeless mercy, he will remove my wickedness, bestow the nectar of the supremely radiant prema, and confer upon me the inspiration to worship Srimati Radhika. Now Gurudev gives a nice kirtan of Swami.
All right, next verse.
Next verse, number 9.
This next verse, I studied before, this gives the sambandha of how we should relate in the practice of bhakti. This next verse is how we adjust ourselves in relation to the persons who are the object of our worship. Okay?
Adisha Natasve Vrajavipina Chandram Vrajavane Swarim
Vaneshrim. Vaneshrim.
Oh, it's 2 words. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. One word.
Means Radhika.
Vaneshriam Tam Natatve Tad Atula Praktive Tu Lalitam Shakam
Sikshali.
Sikshali.
Vitaranam.
Shakam Sikshali Vitarana
Gurutve.
Gurutve Priya Saro
Girindro.
Tat Preksha Lalita Rati Tatve Smaramana.
This verse is very important. We should all try to memorize at some point. Marisha Natadve Rajapakila Chandra Vrajavane Marishrim. So he's saying that the Prananath, the Lord of my Swamini, is Krishna. My Ishwari is who? Radhika. Her Prananath is Krishna. You understand? So he's adjusting what our position is in relation to Sri Krishna. You understand? And by saying Vaneshwarim, he's saying that we are not taking the position of Saki. You understand? We're taking position of Palyadasi to Radhika. She is our Ishwari. Her Prananath is Krishna. Then her Saki, Sakitve tu Lalitam. Lalita is her Saki, whom we want to be in her gun. Who will give all instructions how to do seva? Vishakam, Shikshali, Vitaranam. Complete instructions how to serve Radhika are given by Vishaka. So she's Gurutve. Priyasaro means Radhakund. So to get this mood, Priyasaro, you should worship at Radhakund and Giriraj Govardhan. Understand? Tat Preksha, these 2 things, Radhakund and Giriraj, they give this mood. You understand? So he's telling his mind, always remember these 2 things with great love. So this is very important because this is the Sambandha in Raganuga Sadhan. Understand? But everything Raghunath Das Goswami is teaching is not do this, do this, do this. How to adjust your consciousness in order to do Rag Marg.
Your mind right.
That's another way to say it.
So should we be following the instructions of Lalita or Vishaka?
No, here it means that Vishaka is, Gurutva means she teaches how to do all kinds of savas. But we want to be in the gun of Lalita. Gun, like, this is, tomorrow we'll talk about. A gun means like a group. And the Sakis, they have all different groups. Manjaris are under different Sakis. So primarily we ask that we want to be in the gun of Lalita, under Rupa Manjari. Under Rupa Manjari, our entire parampara is there. down to Raman Manjari. So we want to serve under Raman Manjari. This is Dasa Anudasa. You understand? So when you begin to chant, you're setting up this meditation. Gopi Bhartu Pada Kamalayor. Gopi Bhartu means who's maintaining the gopis. Who's maintaining the gopis? You can say Krishna. But Radha. Understand? You can say Krishna Bhartu, yeah, but actually Radha, right? Because all are affiliated with Radhika in some way, form, or fashion. So Gopi Bhartu Pada Kamalayor. Dasa Anud, I want to be in that line coming from them. So we're asking, can I be, please, in the gun of Lalita, and in whose gun Rupa Manjari is there? Then our entire line of Parampara Manjaris coming under Rupa Manjari, we want to be in that line. So now you could say, well, how many people can fit there? There's a lot of people want to do it. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. They have room for you. There's room for you. They will not run out of spaces. Okay? Yes. And Vishaka, all things of teaching, how to serve, what to do, Vishaka is doing like that.
So Vishaka is...
Like Shiksha Guru.
Oh, okay.
You understand? Saying Vishakam Shikshali. She's giving instruction. Gurutve. Like a guru, she's giving instruction how to do all services.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed the example. We get, like, it's not that he only gave, but Rai Ramanand Sambhad.
Yes.
That he's taking lessons from Vishaka and
In
then...
Gaudiya. Yes.
No, he did, but it reveals like that he...
Came to Ramananda Roy.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
true.
then he's testing in Gambhira.
With Swarup Damodar, who's Lalita, and Ramananda Roy.
Yes.
So I was thinking, I've heard that there's thousands and thousands of gopis.
Billions. Satakoti, Gopi, Madhavaman, beginning of this bhajan. Satako, what does it mean? 10 million?
Okay, but there's not that many months.
No, many manjaris. Unlimited manjaris.
Okay. And like the queens of Dwarka, those are another category, I know, but how do the queens of Dwarka, how do they end up there?
Queens of Dwarka are eternal position. Satyabhama, Rukmini, Kalindi, Jambavati, that's an eternal position. And the 16,000 who were rescued from Banasur is eternal position. They are Nitya Parikars. But their origin is in Radha Shakti. Understand? Their expansions in the Dwarka Leela, like Sita Devi in Ram Leela is whom? Radha. It's Radharani in that Leela.
Even Yashoda Maya is also...
Yes. Yes. You showed him Mahi? Her body is not Kayavya of Radhika. Her body is Sandhini Shakti of Baladev. All of the Brijabasis, Nanda Baba, Yashoda, all cow boys, cows, everything, coming from Baladev Tattva, Sandhini Shakti. Kayavya of Radhika is only all gopis. And not all gopis. Those gopis who became Sadhan Siddha, they are Kayavya of Radhika. So, but the queens of Dwarka, if you read Lalit Madhav of Rupa Goswami, he explained that when Krishna left to go to Mathura and then later to Dwarka, then those gopis, they became so distraught at one point, they wanted to give up their lives. So Radhika and Vishaka, they walked into the Jamuna. I'm shortening the story because it's a different subject matter. He walked into the Jamuna. They were taken by Suryadev. Suryadev then arranged that Radhika will become the wife of Satyajit, became Satyabhama. And that Kalindi became another wife of Krishna. Lalita, when she saw that she became distraught, she wanted to also walk in Jamuna. Purnamasi Devi stopped her. Then she went to the top of Govardhan and jumped. When she jumped, Jambavan from Ram Leela was passing that time. So he caught her and took her, came the daughter of Jambavan. When Krishna went in search of Shamantaka jewel, he fought with that Jambavan. Jambavan gave the jewel and gave that Lalita, who would become Jambavati, to Krishna as his wife. So all the queens in Dwarka there, those primary queens, are manifestations of the Astasakti.
Mini Chandravali. Mini Chandravali.
Chandravali became Rukmini.
Yeah.
She was taken by Bhishma because his idea, she was originally the daughter of King Bhishmaka. So he came and took her. You understand? Then Krishna ended up marrying Rukmini via the whole thing. Right? He went to a Swayamvar, kidnapped, etc., etc. Okay? So in Lalit Madhava is written, but Mahaprabhu told to Rup Goswami, don't put them together. So write two separate dramas. So the first drama is called Vidagdha Madhav, all Krishna's Vrindavan Leela, and when Krishna is leaving in Lalit Madhav, this is told, 7th or 8th chapter of Lalit Madhav. Okay? Alright, there's two more verses, then we'll begin to open up for questions.
Sloka 10. Pratem Gauri Lile Ati Supati Pradonya Kira Nai Sachi Lakshmi Satya Pari Bhavati Prabhogyam Valanai Vati Karais Chandravali Mukha Navina Vrajas Sati
Shipatya Arad.
Yatam Hari Daita Raram Bhajamana.
So now he's becoming very clear. What is the object of our worship? Radha. And where else have you seen this narration?
Can you read the translation?
Read again. Oh, I'll read translation. Without taking shelter of the Lord's internal potency, Swarup Shakti, one can never obtain the fullest aspect of the absolute truth, Shri Krishna, who is the possessor of all that potency. Therefore, the following statement is expressed. O mind, give up attachment for all others and just worship the most beloved of Krishna, Srimati Radhika, who inflames Rati, Gauri, and Leela. You have phone with you? Get the Bhajan, Ramani, Shiromani. Rati, Gauri, Leela, by the effulgence rays of her beauty, who vanquishes Sri Sachi, Sri Lakshmi, and Sri Satyabhama by the profusion of her good fortune, and who dissipates the pride and of the chaste young girls of Braj, headed by Chandravali, by her ability to bring Sri Krishna under her control. This Srimati Radhika is the most beloved of Sri Krishna. So now he's giving our Sambandha. Clearly, that we want to be Palidasya Radhika. You found Ramani Saramani? If you go down, there's one stanza there. Ratri Gauri Leela. You can sing it.
You start.
I don't know exactly the entire. I have to sing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Sundarya Kirana Desi Yajanhara Rati Gaura Leela Garva Parihar Rati Gauri Leela Garva Parihar.
Yes. There's a second part. Yes. Last line, last one. So right from Raghunath Das Goswami's own mouth, coming down to the mouth of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he's saying the same exact thing. Yes, to be in this line. his Ramani Shiromani, his bhajan. Gurudev liked so much. And I think it was who sang very nicely. Tamal. Yes. Yes. But not only Tamal, is sannyasi? No, one sannyasi. Yes. So Gurudev told if Bhakti Vinod Thakur was here, he would weep. He told on one parikram. Understand? So this is the mood that was passed down from Raghunath Das Goswami that's come all the way down in the line of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Yes. Okay. Same thing's being explained here. He's saying that like the wife of Indra, wife of Lord Shiva, etc., Radhika only by her sabhagya, by her good fortune, she exceeds all of them. By the beauty of her... you have there? Let me see. Yes. Just read it and I'll explain it.
You're saying the
English translation.
From Saundarya?
Yes.
Beholding her effulgent rays of pure beauty, the goddesses Rati, Gaudi, and Leela abandoned all their pride.
1 second. Sundarya Kiryan means, Radhika's beauty means the reflection of her praying. By the nature of the reflection of her praying only, she subdues even high class of Devis, like is mentioned here. Go ahead, Didi.
The good fortune attributed to the goddesses Sachi, Lakshmi, and Satya is completely defeated in the presence of Radha's key. So
it means the wife of Indra, Lakshmi Devi herself, and Satyabhama. Her Saubhagya exceeds even theirs. What is her good fortune? Her good fortune is actually explained in relation to Chandravali. You understand? Okay.
The group of rival gopis led by Chandravali is forced to accept their defeat before Srimati Radharani, for she alone controls Krishna.
Vasikari means control Krishna. Understand? Therefore her good fortune, her beauty already exceeds the Devis. But her good fortune, even Lakshmi Devi, who's her own Shakti. Understand? Sachi, the wife of Indra, what to speak. And this is the purport here. And even Satyabhama. Because Satyabhama in Dwarka is very powerful. Rukmini's primary wife. But Satyabhama, if she will display any kind of crowed anger, Krishna will, okay, what do you need? Understand? But to Radhika, Krishna will tremble. You understand? Krishna will beg. Understand? So he got one parijata tree for Satyabhama. But what will Krishna do for Radhika? Krishna will run through thorns. One time it's explained. Krishna told to Radhika, we will meet at one Bakul grove. But Bakul flowers of different kinds. So in the communication, their Sankyat to meet for their rendezvous, Krishna went to one Bakul grove, Radhika went to another. So much time is passing and Radhika's waiting there for him. He's not showing up. So you know the 8 kinds of avas, like Vasatsajja, Utkantita, Kandita, Kalahandrita, etc. So Radhika's becoming angry, etc., etc. So then Krishna's thinking, why Radhika? Maybe she could not come from Yavat. Maybe she could not escape from her house. So he's also worried. And also at that time, Krishna had picked one bakul flower. It was very beautiful, soft, everything. He picked this flower and he was waiting only to give to Radhika. So now Radhika's not coming. He's also becoming very sad. And then he's thinking, but she promised she would come. It must be something is wrong. Then he realized, oh, we missed that bakul. So then Krishna started running. And he was running, and as he's running, he decided, I'll take shortcut. So he's running through the thorns and bushes, so it's getting scratched here, there, so many different things, and everything. He runs to the grove of Radhika. He's very late, and Radhika's made a vow, I will not see him, I don't want to touch him. Nothing. So she sat with her back towards the entrance of that kund. And he told, listen, if he will come here, I don't want to see anything. And not even anything that has dark color. So she took, her braid was over her shoulder. She took the braid and threw it behind her. You understand? And then she made a vow. I will not see him, I will not speak to him, and I definitely will not touch him. That time Krishna came, and the manjaris were at the door. And the manjaris told, listen, listen, I know that maybe anything may have happened, but apparently, wherever you were, you must have been enjoying yourself. Why? Because we're seeing the scratches on your neck, everything. So perhaps it's better you should go back there. So Manjaris can speak like this to him. You understand? And Lalita and Vishaka, they're standing in back. So it's like the Manjaris have backup also, just in case he gets out of hand. Anyway, so Krishna prayed, no. This was a big mistake. I was waiting in one grove. My heart was only for Radhika. He's saying so many things. Yes, we know. But why not go back and tell that person who put the scratches? Tell them this story. So then, no. This, you know how I got these scratches? I was running in such eagerness to meet Radhika that I was running through bushes. Some thorn scratched me. Actually, I need assistance. You understand? I said, listen, we've heard these kind of stories many times. You understand? So why the scratches only on your neck? Because in Kamkrita, this thing will be... They said, why scratches only on the neck? He said, no, I have scratches everywhere. Then he looked on his hands, and Krishna realized no major scratches on the hands. So he said, no. Listen, I could show you my chest. I said, we don't want to see anything of your chest. You understand? So Krishna is trying to make argument. At that time, Radhika told she would not see him. So then Krishna pleaded and pleaded. There are 5 kinds of things: dhan, nati, ved, etc. How to break man. So he's going through everything. So he's pleading desperately. So Vishaka's heart became a little softened. Listen, at least maybe you can hear what he's saying. Radhika told, she would not speak. I will not speak nothing. Nope. Right? And every time she's shaking her head, braid is coming this way, she pushed this way, pushed that way. Understand? So that time, they said, listen, just come in, don't say anything, just come in. Because they know that the Surabha Ganda of Krishna's body is very powerful. So if we will bring him nearby, and any breeze will blow, then the Surabha Ganda of Krishna's body will touch Radhika, and maybe that will work. But Radhika is very, very tough. It's called Durjayaman. Means very strong, very difficult to break. So then Krishna could not contain himself, and he said, oh my dear. And when he said, oh my dear, Radhika herself got up and said, get out from here. I don't want to speak to you. Nothing. Get out from here. So as she was speaking to him, then Vishaka leaned over and said, listen, you said you weren't going to speak to him. You broke your vow. So then Radhika thought, there's no matter, get him out. So then they said, listen, he lifted Govardhan Hill. He's very strong. How we can push him out here? Or you move away. And she started pushing him. They said, listen, vow number 2 you broke. You told you would never touch him. So then they thought, listen, you've seen him. You spoke to him, you touched him. Listen, all those vows are broken. Why try to hold on to anything else? So then Radhika, she looked and she thought, yes, maybe I was defeated. Then Krishna said, then perhaps you could take this flower. And he presented that Baku flower, which was untouched to Radhika. You understand? And that's why he broke her one. Understand? So many wonderful pastimes like this show the glory of Radhika's praying of all others. And this is what's desirable for us to want to serve that praying. Understand? It also shows the power of the position of Manjaris. That even they can stand in the face of Krishna and give order. No, you can't come in. You understand? And so many sweet pastimes like this. If you'll see in Lalit Madhav, Vidagdha Madhav, so many sweet pastimes are like this. Understand?
But the Manjaris are tougher than Radhika. I know.
They can be, but sometimes they will be soft. Oh. that Manju Manja is tough to you. But that's the case. Yes, that's the case all the wives. Don't worry. All right, we're getting there now, 6:30. Yeah, let's do number 11. Actually, let's finish this.
Yeah.
This was my primary thing for this evening.
Yeah, and it's very good that you could do. Samam Shirupena, Smala, Nivasa, Radha, Giri Vitor, Raja Sakshat Sevalambana, Vidaye, Tad,
Gana Yunjo.
Yujo, Tad, Yakya, Danya,
Shravanam Nati.
Shravanam Nati, Pachamitam,
Idam.
Danya Nitya Govardhanam, Anudinam Twam Bhajamanam.
Now the deep method of performing very deep and confidential bhajan is being explained. Oh dear mind, in order to obtain the direct service of Sri Radha Giridhari, who are always entranced in amorous desires, and the service of their eternal associates in Braj, one should drink the Panchamrit of service to them in accordance with the method prescribed by Sri Rupa Goswami. This Panchamrit ambrosial nectar comprised of the following 5 ingredients. Worship of the divine couple. So now he's describing the process of doing Raganuga Sadhan as a practical matter.
Yeah.
What you should do.
Right.
He's emphasizing these 5 things. Right?
So this is Abhideya Tattva now.
This is Abhideya Tattva. He's showing how to do it. But the first thing, which is why this is called Antarapant, he made all the internal adjustments to your consciousness.
Right.
And by making that adjustment,
also.
you're giving Sambandha and then telling do this.
Right.
Okay? So now with Sambandha and with all the things he mentioned previously, you should do these 5 things.
Archana.
The Archan. Go ahead, read it, sir.
Chanting the glories of the transcendental names.
Oh, but read the first. He says, divine couple, Archan. So it means, Archan here means because Archan is different from Bhajan.
Right.
So what is the meaning here? It means you should do Bhajan as a worship. So he's saying Archan. It doesn't mean Archan like the absence of Bhajan, because this is Rag Marg.
Right.
So Archan here means doing their worship through your Bhajan. The primary means of Bhajan in Raganuga Sadhan is Smaran. Okay?
Chanting the glories of the transcendental names, form, qualities, and pastimes. Sankirtan. Meditating upon them.
Dhyan.
Dhyan.
The meditation.
Hearing the glories of their names, form, qualities, and pastimes.
Shravan.
And offering pranams unto them. In addition, one should worship Sri Govardhan daily in accordance with the precepts of Bhakti.
Yes, so worshiping Govardhan daily, because Raghunath Das Goswami, what was his deity? Govardhan Shila. Yes. So he's speaking personally. Govardhanatam. So he wrote this bhajan. So these 5 things are also equivalent to the 5 main practices of bhakti that we all do. He's speaking specifically from his bhajan. But what 5 things also did Rupa Goswami give? Nam Sankirtan, Sadhu Sangha, Mathuravas, Shrimurta Shraddhai Sevan, and Bhagavad Shravan. So we should do those 5 things with this mood that has been described. This becomes Raganuga Sadhan. Because Vairi Bhakti Ratna Jane Swadinata Ratna Dhane. So Vairi Bhakti, when you're practicing with this intention and this mood, that Vairi turns into the jewel of Ragmarg. You understand? So now we're doing Raganuga Pravritti. You understand? Means we're practicing, doing the processes with the aim of obtaining Rag Anuga to the Ragatmik Jana. One more, last verse, false 50 verse. Manashiksha Daikya Dhasya Varam Etan Madhurya Gira Gayati Uchai Samadhighata Savatra Tatiti Yahad Sayuta Sri Rupa Nuga Iha Bhavan Gokul Vane Jano Rara Krishna Tula Bhajan Ratnam Sa Labhate.
Wait a minute.
That's number 12.
Oh, well, I was on 11.
Yeah, we did it. Okay. While instructing his own mind, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami offers to study and recite this composition known as Manasiksha. Anyone who, adopting the line of Sri Rupa and his followers, takes up residence in Gokul or Braj and loudly sings these 11 excellent instructions to the mind in a melodious voice with full understanding of their meaning, will certainly obtain the matchless gem of the worship of Sri Radha and Krishna. Certainly. So this is his Ashibad, means his blessing, that if you will take... So what are we trying to get in Raganuga Bhakti? You need Lobh, Sambandha, Anugatya, and... So he's saying, I'll give you my Kripa. Do Bhajan according to what I've given you, I'm giving you my Kripa. Even in Srimad Bhagavatam, the 3rd verse, Nigama Kapatura Galitam Palam, this is the Ashibad verse of Vyasadeva. If you understand these first 2 verses, I'm giving my blessings. Aho Rasika Bhuvi Babuka. You'll meet any Rasik, Babu Vaishnav who's roaming this world. You understand? So if you will read the Bhagavatam, beginning Janmadya Shayata, etc., he's giving the Ashibad, the blessing, you will meet a Rasik Babu Vaishnav. You understand? All right. Any questions? Any comments?
Say the word again, Ashirvad.
Ashirvad. Ashirvad means a blessing.
Ashirvad.
Means a blessing.
Yeah.
Sadhana bhakti to be done like Sambadnadu,
Kamanuga, etc. Yes. So in Madhurya Ras in general, there are two divisions. One is called Kamanuga, right? And one is called Tattva Bhava Ichmai. So Kamanuga Bhakti means those who have some Bhog Ichmai. Those who are doing the service to Radhika have Tattva Bhava Ichmai, their mood. Yes, that's our aspiration. Understand?
Who came to taste, one who came
To give. Understand?
First is Sambandhanuga.
Sambandhanuga means by relation. Like Mother Yashoda, Maharaj Nanda, their prema is by, it follows their Sambandha, meaning relation to Krishna. Kamanuga is gopis, it follows their praying towards Krishna. But in Kamanuga, two divisions are there, Sambhogichmahi and Tattva Bhavichmahi. And Manjar, yeah, in the verse, Sancharishyat Samunava, Krishnarati Surirati, Pushamanas Adikascha, Bhavulas Itiriyate, is written by Rupa Goswami. Those whose, the Sanchari Bhav, which is called Bhav Ulas, right, means Manjari Bhav. Krishnarati, Suridrati. Their Suridrati means their move towards Radhika. Pushamana means it nourishes their love for Krishna. You understand? Because the definition of a Sthai Bhav, given by Rupa Goswami, Sthai Bhav Utrasa Prokta, Sri Krishna Vishayani Rati. Krishna is the only Vishay of every ras. You understand? So if you say Manjari Bhav is towards Radhika, it would break the definition of Rupa Goswami. So therefore, this verse Rupa Goswami wrote, when the Suridrati means the affection towards Radhika nourishes the love for Krishna, it doesn't break the definition. Pushamanas Adikas, but it exceeds their affection for Krishna. So they're called Radhika Sneha Adhika. Then they have more affection for Radhika. But that affection for Radhika nourishes their mood towards Krishna. The 9th verse here we read, Marisha Natvatve, etc., was that point. Through loving Radhika, her prananath is Krishna, their love for Krishna is nourished. Okay?
Yeah, who's the answering of there?
Huh?
That statement you just said.
Through the love for Radhika,
yeah,
their love for Krishna is nourished.
who is there?
The Manjaris. Yes. Also in that verse, because this verse, big conversation took place in front of my house in 2008. Prem had, because he was understanding the sin, he brought up this verse. Ashrama, so many sannyas, everybody was there, we were walking with Gurudev. He said, how we'll take this verse, Sanchari Shat Samunava, so the verse I just quoted. So it says, Surid Rati is exceeding the Rati for Sri Krishna. So Gurudev, everybody's discussing, quoting verses, this thing, Gurudev not saying anything. Then says, so how will it be that constantly they have Surid Rati towards Radhika? So Gurudev didn't say anything, keep walking. Finally Gurudev said, we should walk. But if Krishna will do anything wrong, then. Those are the only words Gurudev said. So then we walked with Gurudev back to the house he was staying across the street from me. And everybody's standing up and what does that mean? If Krishna will do anything wrong, then. So what does that mean? Then when we thought about it deeply, he says that if Krishna is in a position to offend Radhika or anything, the mood in her Sakhis and Manjaris will become excessive. Krishna's always in a position to do something wrong. You understand? He's always in the possibility he may make some mistake. You understand? Because man is a part of praying. So because he may do something wrong at any time, it creates the atmosphere in which a special kind of rati, Babulas rati, Manjari Bhav, towards Radhika can become permanent. You understand? So Gurudev always said those words. And we stood there, it was more than, a couple of hours. They stood outside going back and forth, so forth, so on. But then Gurudev also told, praying prayers and told, Gurudev also said, Sthai Bhava Utrasa Prokta Sri Krishna Vishayani Rati. That how you can say Krishna is the only Vishay, because without Radhika, what is the purpose of a Krishna? So Sri Krishna means Radha Krishna is actually the object of worship. You understand? But in Rasa Vichar, Krishna's Vishaya Jati, Radhika's Ashaya Jati. But if there was no Radhika, how could Krishna be a Vishaya? Because the component of Rasa would be missing. Very good. Any other questions or comments?
This morning I verified, Subhanda, the things that you were saying about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhu. So now I want to verify Abhideya with Srila Gurudev. These are such good topics, and we are certainly lucky that we are discussing them. In the practice of bhakti, hundreds of thousands of births may come by, and it is not certain that one will have the good fortune to discuss such topics. It is only the mercy of Guru and Gauranga that we are able to do so. Making another very important point, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that we should not worship Sri Sri Radha Krishna without pastimes. Do you understand?
Without what?
Pastimes.
Pastimes.
Do you understand? If we chant Hare Krishna without remembering their pastimes, only a very simple thing can be achieved. Srila Rupa Goswami has therefore said that chanting Krishna's names and remembering his pastimes must be amalgamated. Then there will be rasa, the mellow taste of a relationship with Radha and Krishna. For example, if sugar and water remain as they are, without being mixed, there will be no rasa, no nectar taste of a good drink. Both must mix together, then it will be rasa. What kind of pastimes do we want to remember? If we have greed for that relationship, we want to remember Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. It is true that Krishna is always with his Haladini Shakti, his pleasure potency. It is also true that Radhika is the personification of his Haladini Shakti, also known as his Swarup Shakti. His complete intrinsic potency. Still, we should not remember Krishna and Radha without their pastimes. If we remember them without pastimes, Haladini Shakti will not act upon us. When we go to the temple, we see Radha and Krishna simply standing on the altar. If this is what we meditate upon when we chant Hare Krishna, we will have darshan of Satyabhama and Rukmini. Thus, it is not certain that we will attain Braj Bhav simply by the worship of Radha and Krishna as they appear in the temple. We should remember the pastimes of Radha and Krishna as they are served by the Manjaris, who are under the guidance of Sri Rupa Manjari and Sri Rati Manjari. And we should meditate on our Gurudev as one of the Manjaris. We should remember the pastimes as described by our Goswamis and Srimad Bhagavatam. When we perform the arti of Sri Radha and Krishna, we should again remember their pastimes. Which pastimes? In the morning, remember their morning pastimes. And at midday, remember their midday pastimes. Considering that in our Sarup, we are one of their associates, praying for that attainment. Meditate on our Gurudev as one of them. In this way, our bhajan will be Raganuga. Otherwise, it will be simply performing Vadi Bhakti.
Kirtan. Gurudev himself incarnate, because we're trying. Gurudev himself incarnate and make everything clear. Kirtan, Bas. Non-kirtan. That was amazing.
Where were you reading?
From the hidden path of devotion.
Conversations on Radha Chandri.
What page? We can discuss that after, but that for sure. Just
109 and 110.
This is what Sadhu Sangha means. You try to come together and you're trying very hard in our group because we're all following Gurudev. Gurudev himself descended to make all clear everything.
I have a couple more copies of that. The price just went up.
Yeah, the outside door. Not too loud. And then Braj Kirtan also. Then Braj Kirtan after.
Okay. Krishna Krishna Hare